Mastering your mindset is the foundation of becoming someone nobody recognizes. It all starts in your head. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions determine who you become. The problem is, most people let their thoughts control them instead of the other way around. They listen to their doubts, fears, and excuses, and as a result, they stay the same. If you want to reinvent yourself, you have to take control of your mind and reprogram it for discipline, resilience, and relentless pursuit of growth. The first step is understanding that your mind will always try to take the easy route. It's wired for comfort and survival, not excellence. That's why when you wake up early, your brain tells you to hit snooze. When you set a goal to work out, your brain tries to convince you that you're too tired. It will throw every excuse at you. You need more sleep. You're not ready. It's too cold outside. You can start tomorrow. Most people listen to these thoughts and give in. They stay trapped in the cycle of mediocrity because they let their emotions dictate their actions. To break free from this cycle, you need to separate your feelings from your actions. The key to mastering your mindset is realizing that discipline is doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. You don't wait for motivation because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. The people who transform their lives don't rely on motivation. They rely on habits, routines, and discipline. They've trained their minds to ignore the voice that says stop and push forward anyway. One of the most effective ways to take control of your mindset is by doing things that challenge you daily. When you voluntarily step into discomfort, you train your brain to handle adversity. If you never push yourself, you remain weak. But if you make it a habit to do hard things, waking up early, pushing through exhaustion, taking cold showers, studying when you don't feel like it, you build mental toughness. Over time, you rewire your brain to embrace difficulty instead of avoiding it. Another crucial aspect of mastering your mindset is changing the way you talk to yourself. Your inner dialogue is powerful. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or I'm too tired, your brain will believe it and you'll act accordingly. But if you replace those thoughts with, I can handle this, I am capable, and I don't quit, you start to create a new identity. You become someone who refuses to back down. Every time you override a negative thought with a powerful one, you weaken the old version of yourself and strengthen the new one. It's also important to remind yourself that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. Most people quit when things get uncomfortable because they focus on the pain in the moment instead of the long-term reward. They don't see that the struggle they're going through is shaping them into a stronger version of themselves. When you shift your perspective and see challenges as opportunities to grow, you stop running from them. Instead, you welcome them because you know they're making you better. Mastering your mindset isn't a one-time thing. It's a lifelong process. Every day you have to make a choice, stay the same or push forward. You have to catch yourself when your mind tries to take the easy route and force yourself to do the hard thing. Instead, you stop being the person who hesitates, doubts, and makes excuses. You become the person who takes action, faces challenges head on, and never backs down. You become someone that even you wouldn't recognize. Outworking your old self is about proving to yourself every single day that you are no longer the same person you used to be. It's about taking control of your habits, actions, and mindset to push yourself beyond the limits you once thought were unbreakable. The old version of you was comfortable, complacent, and content with mediocrity. The new version of you is relentless, disciplined, and always striving for more. The only way to make this transformation a reality is to show up and put in the work, day after day, with an intensity that leaves no room for excuses. Most people claim they want to change, but when it comes down to actually doing the work, they hesitate. They let distractions, laziness, and fear hold them back. They start off strong but lose momentum when things get hard. To truly outwork your old self, you must commit to a level of effort that makes quitting impossible. This means setting higher standards for yourself in everything you do. It's no longer about doing the bare minimum, it's about going above and beyond, pushing yourself to your absolute limits, and then pushing past them. The best way to start this process is by identifying the weaknesses of your old self. What were the habits that held you back? What were the excuses you always used? What situations caused you to quit or procrastinate? Once you recognize these patterns, you must attack them head on. If you used to sleep in, you now wake up earlier. If you used to avoid hard tasks, you now face them first. If you used to give up when things got tough, you now push through until the job is done. Every action should be a direct challenge to the person you used to be. Outworking your old self means embracing discomfort daily. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The moment you feel yourself getting too comfortable, it's a sign that you need to level up. This applies to every aspect of life: physical, mental, and emotional. If you're used to lifting a certain amount of weight, increase it. If you're used to running a set distance, go further. If you're used to avoiding difficult conversations, have them. If you're used to consuming entertainment for hours, replace it with learning. Every single day should be a battle against the old version of you, and every single day should end with you winning that battle. Consistency is the key to making this transformation permanent. One day of hard work won't change you, but a year of showing up and giving your all will make you unrecognizable. There will be days when you don't feel like putting in the effort, but those are the most important days to push through. It's easy to work hard when you're motivated. It's the work you do when you don't feel like it that truly separates you from the person you used to be. Another crucial part of outworking your old self is setting goals that scare you. If your goals are small and easy to achieve, you're not pushing hard enough. You need to aim for things that challenge you, things that force you to grow into a better version of yourself. When you accomplish goals that once seemed impossible, you prove to yourself that you're capable of much more than you ever thought. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. That's the only competition that matters. When you dedicate yourself to this process, you'll wake up one day and realize that the person staring back at you in the mirror is someone completely different. You'll have outworked, outgrown, and completely destroyed the weak version of yourself. And once you reach that point, you don't stop. You keep going, because there is no finish line. Doing the hardest thing daily is the key to building resilience, discipline, and an unstoppable mindset. Most people avoid difficult tasks because they are uncomfortable, painful, or require too much effort. But that avoidance is exactly what keeps them weak, stuck, and unfulfilled. Growth only happens when you push yourself beyond your perceived limits. If you want to become someone nobody recognizes, you have to stop running from challenges and start attacking them head on. Every single day, the hardest thing in your life is usually the thing you avoid the most. It's the workout you keep putting off, the project you procrastinate on, the conversation you're too scared to have, the habit you can't seem to break. These are the things that hold you back. And the only way to overcome them is to confront them directly. When you commit to doing the hardest thing daily, you stop letting fear, doubt, and hesitation control your actions. Instead, you train yourself to act despite how you feel. Most people wait for motivation before they take action, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you only do hard things when you feel inspired, you'll never achieve true transformation. The people who become unrecognizable versions of themselves are the ones who take action regardless of how they feel. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it by consistently showing up and doing the work. This mindset applies to every area of life. If you want to build a strong body, you have to push through the hardest workouts, even when you're tired. If you want to become mentally tough, you have to face your fears and do things that make you uncomfortable. If you want to develop discipline, you have to force yourself to stay consistent, even when your mind tells you to quit. Every time you choose to do the hardest thing instead of taking the easy way out, you become stronger, more resilient, and more capable. Pain and struggle are necessary for growth. When you lift weights, your muscles tear so they can rebuild stronger. When you push yourself mentally, your mind adapts and becomes tougher. The same principle applies to every challenge in life. The more you expose yourself to difficulty, the more you grow. But most people never reach their full potential because they avoid discomfort at all costs. They stay in their comfort zone, doing the same easy things every day, and then wonder why they aren't making progress. If you want to change, you have to make discomfort a daily habit. You have to get used to doing things that suck. Not because they're fun, but because they make you better. When you push yourself beyond your limits, you realize that most of the barriers you thought existed were only in your mind. You're capable of far more than you believe, but you'll never discover that if you keep choosing the easy path. The key is to set challenges for yourself every single day. If running a mile is hard for you, run 2. If speaking in public terrifies you, sign up for an event. If waking up early is a struggle, set your alarm even earlier. The goal is to find the thing that scares you or makes you uncomfortable and attack it. Over time, the things that once seemed impossible become routine. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who have it easy. They are the ones who willingly put themselves through difficulty and come out stronger on the other side. When you make it a habit to do the hardest thing daily, you stop being the person who makes excuses and you start being the person who takes action. And that's when true transformation happens. Silencing doubt with action is the most powerful way to overcome fear, insecurity, and hesitation. Most people get stuck in their own heads, constantly questioning themselves, overanalyzing every decision, and waiting for the perfect moment to act. But that moment never comes. Doubt thrives in inaction. The more time you spend thinking instead of doing, the more power your fears have over you. The only way to break this cycle is to take immediate, decisive action before doubt has a chance to take root. Doubt is a liar. It tells you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes. It magnifies your weaknesses and minimizes your strengths. It makes you second guess yourself until you convince yourself that taking action isn't worth it. But doubt only has as much power as you give it. The second you move, the second you take that first step, you weaken its grip. Most people wait until they feel confident before they act. But confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And the only way to build it is through action. You don't become confident by thinking about doing something. You become confident by doing it over and over again until it becomes second nature. Action creates proof, and proof destroys doubt. When you take action, you collect evidence that you are capable, that you can handle challenges, and that you are stronger than you thought. The biggest mistake people make is believing they need all the answers before they start. They think they need to feel prepared, to have a perfect plan, to know exactly how everything will play out. But That's not how life works. The truth is, you'll never feel 100% ready. You'll never have all the information. There will always be uncertainty. But taking action, even imperfect action, will teach you more than endless planning ever could. Action builds momentum. The hardest part of anything is starting. Once you take that first step, it becomes easier to take the next one. Think about working out. The hardest part is getting off the couch and starting your workout. But once you begin, once your heart starts pumping and the adrenaline kicks in, you find yourself pushing through. The same applies to everything in life. Taking action, no matter how small, is the key to breaking through resistance. Every time you take action, you're rewriting your identity. The old version of you hesitated, doubted, and made excuses. The new version of you moves forward despite fear. The more you prove to yourself that you are someone who takes action, the less doubt will control you. Over time, you become the type of person who doesn't overthink, who doesn't hesitate, who just does what needs to be done. The best way to silence doubt is to develop a bias toward action. Whenever you feel yourself overthinking or hesitating, count down from 5 and move. Make that call, send that email, step into that gym, start that project. Don't give yourself time to negotiate. Your brain will always try to talk you out of doing hard things, so you have to move before it can. You'll never eliminate fear completely, but you can make it irrelevant. Fear and doubt will always exist, but they only have power if you listen to them. If you train yourself to act regardless of fear, you become unstoppable. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't isn't talent, intelligence, or luck, it's action. The ones who succeed are the ones who move, who execute, who keep going even when doubt creeps in. And when you live this way, when you consistently take action despite fear, you become someone nobody recognizes. Someone stronger, bolder, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Eliminating the weak version of yourself is a process of destruction and rebirth. It means letting go of the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that have kept you stagnant and replacing them with the mindset and actions of someone who refuses to accept anything less than their full potential. The old you was full of excuses, procrastination, and self-doubt. That version of you must die every single day so that a stronger, more disciplined version can emerge. This is not a one-time event. It's a relentless battle against the comfort, fear, and laziness that try to pull you back into mediocrity. The weak version of you loves comfort. It wants to sleep in instead of waking up early. It wants to skip workouts instead of pushing through pain. It wants to take the easy route instead of doing what's necessary. The weak version of you is a liar. It tells you that you have time, that you can start tomorrow, that you don't have what it takes. But the truth is, that version of you is the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be. Every day you have to wake up with the intention of killing that part of yourself by making the harder choice, by doing what most people refuse to do, by proving that you are not who you used to be. You don't eliminate the weak version of yourself by talking about change. You do it through action. The way you wake up, the way you train, the way you handle adversity, all of these things are opportunities to prove that you have outgrown the excuses of your past. When you feel like quitting, that's the moment you have to push even harder. When your mind tells you that you've done enough, that's when you do more. It's in those moments of resistance that transformation happens. There will be days when the weak version of you tries to take control. It will creep back in when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when things aren't going your way. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started. Look at where that weak version has gotten you in the past. Has it led you to success? Has it made you proud? Has it built the life you want? If the answer is no, then you already know what needs to be done. The only way to win is to refuse to listen to the voice of weakness and instead take control of your actions. You have to develop a relentless mentality. You are no longer negotiating with yourself. There is no debate. You do what needs to be done no matter what. You stop identifying with weakness and start identifying with strength. The moment you stop giving yourself a way out is the moment you become someone new. It doesn't happen overnight, but every choice you make in favor of discipline over comfort is another nail in the coffin of your old self. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who destroyed their old habits, their old mindsets, and their old limitations to create something greater. They understood that becoming the best version of themselves required them to completely detach from who they used to be. You were either growing or you were staying the same. And staying the same is no longer an option. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? The answer is found in your actions. If you want to be stronger, more disciplined, and more relentless, then prove it. Leave no trace of the weak version of yourself behind. When people look at you, they should see someone completely different from who you used to be. Not because you talked about changing, but because you did the work. Becoming unrecognizable to your old self is the ultimate transformation. It means looking in the mirror and seeing a completely different person. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's about breaking free from who you used to be, shedding every weakness and stepping into a version of yourself that you once thought was impossible. This isn't about small improvements. It's about complete reinvention. The person you were last year, last month, or even last week should be a stranger compared to who you are today. The process begins with a decision. A commitment to never go back to your old ways. You have to be done with the excuses, the procrastination, and the habits that have held you back. The old version of you had limitations, but those limitations were self-imposed. The only reason you stayed the same for so long was because you allowed it. But the moment you decide that enough is enough, everything changes. The person you used to be can no longer exist in the same space as the person you are becoming. One has to die so the other can thrive. This transformation doesn't happen passively. It requires relentless action. You have to set higher standards for yourself, so high that the old version of you couldn't even imagine meeting them. It means waking up earlier, training harder, reading more, working longer, and pushing yourself past every mental and physical barrier. Growth happens when you step into discomfort over and over again until it no longer feels uncomfortable. What once seemed difficult becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes your new baseline. Your mindset is the foundation of this transformation. If you still think like your old self, you will act like your old self. That means eliminating negative self-talk, self-doubt, and hesitation. You stop waiting for motivation and instead rely on discipline. You no longer seek validation from others because you know exactly who you are becoming. Your mind becomes your strongest weapon instead of your biggest obstacle. One of the biggest signs that you are becoming unrecognizable is that people start reacting differently to you. Some will admire you, some will be inspired, and others will feel uncomfortable. The people who were comfortable with your old self may not know how to handle the new you. They might try to pull you back, remind you of who you used to be, or even doubt your transformation. but their opinions don't matter. The only thing that matters is that you keep moving forward. The more you grow, the fewer people will recognize you. And that's exactly the goal. You have to be willing to let go of anything that no longer serves you. That includes not just bad habits, but also people, environments, and mindsets that keep you stuck. If you surround yourself with mediocrity, you will stay mediocre. If you allow negativity into your life, it will hold you back. Becoming unrecognizable means building an environment that supports your growth, one where discipline, ambition, and excellence are the norm. The final piece of this transformation is consistency. Anyone can change for a day or a week, but real transformation comes from showing up every single day, no matter how you feel. There will be moments of doubt, struggle, and exhaustion, but those are the moments that define you. The person who keeps going when it would be easier to quit is the one who truly changes. One day you will wake up and realize that you are no longer the person you used to be. The struggles that once held you back no longer define you. The weaknesses that once controlled you are gone. You have built yourself into someone stronger, more disciplined, and completely unrecognizable. And when you reach that point, you won't stop. You'll keep evolving because there is no finish line.